Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm
And
Chip.
I'm CJ.
And it is a cold Friday in the Riv, TGIF,
And it's
with
going to
all the
be the weekend.
things going on. All the politicians are all out. We've got the national level, state level, and our illustrious governor gave her speech of the state of the state, huh? And I heard it was a ode to uh, how great she is and how much she's gonna uh, spend money as a normal Democratic governor is, and she actually compared herself to was it well, it was Malcolm X and Paul Revere. Was
Yep.
that correct?
Yes, it is.
Paul Revere. Well, I think the only thing that Paul Revere would say if he was alive today, he wouldn't be riding through the streets of Boston and the suburbs yelling, "The British are coming, the British are coming." He would be yelling, "The taxes are coming, the spending is coming, the Democrats are coming. Get the hell out of the state. I'm heading for Florida." That's what he would be saying right now because these people are just they don't give a shit about what they do to the average people. They just don't care. And as far as Martin Luther King, I mean that's you know, I mean she's so far out there I can't believe it. I'll tell you what. I think if we've had a lot of Republican governors, as you know, CJ, we've had a lot of Republicans. We very rarely had a lot of Republicans in the state house, but we have had numerous Republican governors. And I'll tell
Yes.
you what, based on what she's done so far, which has done nothing but spend money, and spend money on illegals, most of the money, while we're getting less service. I think that if they run a viable Republican candidate in the next election, she may be in big trouble.
It's we need to have a more balanced legislature in this state. Okay? We don't. We have a totally I think there's 12 state representatives who are Republicans in the House of Representatives. All the rest are Democrats. Those 12 people can't do anything. They can't make any changes. Okay? And the one thing that I like about this whole thing, and let me tell you, it's very interesting to see because Maura Healey's whole stand was lowering the staggering cost of housing and childcare, improving the state's roads and rails, and strengthening schools. Those are her goals for 2024. And she outlined that. But you know what? She doesn't say how she's going to pay for it. She's going to spend billions and billions of dollars, but there's no way to pay for it. She failed to mention that we already have a shortfall in our budget. She failed to mention that we're $1 billion in shortfall. She failed to mention that. She's going to keep supporting the immigrants coming into Massachusetts. The Republicans turned around in their response and said that they need to change the right to shelter law because there's a loophole in it and people are exploiting it, which is true. They're exploiting it here. And I like the comment by Donald Trump, which may wake up this Commonwealth if he's reelected. He said that he will defund all sanctuary cities and states in the United States. That says a lot. Imagine losing all your federal funding and not being able to get it. That would make your representative like Jake Auchincloss useless because you can't get federal funds. So what good would he be? None. But that's what's going to happen, people. You've got to get out there and vote. You've got to make sure people know that it's time for a change. And it's a real big time for a change. And that's not happening.
Well, listen, CJ. Uh, these blue states are all run by elitists. These people do not care. They do not have a clue. They don't even have any idea of what the average people are. They think they're inferior beings, and this is the problem. They really don't care about the people. They are, you said that would make Auchincloss useless. Well, he's already useless. I don't know if you can exponentially change uselessness because he is another elitist. As a matter of fact, they want to indict Trump for insurrection. He should be indicted for insurrection because he opened the doors for a news network to go into the Capitol after January 6th. He allowed people in there. That place is sacred that they're going to put people in jail for years because of their political party. But when Democrats do it, no big deal. Let him in a side door. So, he's an insurrectionist. If you want to be perfectly truthful, he's the one who let him in. So, but this is, and as you look at it, I was getting disgusted watching the films of them over in Davos, Switzerland, talking about their vision for climate. These elitist millionaires who don't follow the rules. They were talking about eliminating the rice crops. Screw it. It's the biggest crop in the world. Feeds more people in the world than any other grain. Oh, it emits gases because when you flood the rice paddies, it emits a gas and it pollutes. And they don't care because they don't abide by it. Just look at Newsom. Locks everybody in their houses, and they go to the French Laundry. No masks, no nothing. Sit in the most expensive restaurant in the country with all his rich friends from the healthcare industry, and they have dinner. And they're not eating bugs like these people in Davos want you to eat. They want you to eat bugs. No more cows, no more anything, no more beef, no more meat. Shut up, eat bugs, and now they want to put a helmet on you so they can read your brain and think about your thoughts because you're incapable of thinking anything. These people, you let these people run the government, and this is what you get. You get a Maura Healey. She's talking about what a crisis housing is. This is my goal. That's all they ever do is set goals that they never attain. She didn't give a shit about housing. That's a talking point. They had $400 million for housing. Did she come down to Fall River and grab the mayor by the neck and say, Paulie, you didn't even try to get a dime of that $400 million for affordable housing. You don't do anything about affordable housing. You're an asshole. No! Paulie's a wonderful mayor. Oh, he's a Democrat. I love him. We all love each other, these Democrats. Screw the poor people. Raise their taxes. Screw them every way which loose. They don't care. They all got money. Paulie's flush now. He was just a school teacher with a big salary, though. Vice Principal Durfee gets some pretty good money. Now he's got his pension, and now he's got $120,000 for the next 6 years. Do the math. That's nearly $750,000 to invest. Well, he's doing fine. You think they care about the guy that just got to double his tax rate and's on a fixed income? You think he cares about the renters? Did Maura Healey once? She doesn't have a clue what Paul's doing down here, and she doesn't want to know. Although I know somebody did call her office and say that. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, CJ.
I wonder who that could have been that called their office. Maybe it was me. And I said very clearly, I said, Maura Healey's big item that she's concerned with is affordable housing. She put together money for affordable housing units. And I turned around and said, look, we have a mayor which is happy developing 1 or 2 units a year. He's touting that he's gotten like 40 units so far of affordable units. That doesn't even touch what we need. But he's all happy about 2,000 market rate units. And I told the governor's office, your HDIP program sucks because it's abused and there are too many loopholes in it, that it's exploited by developers. Your MBTA law requiring units to be built is being exploited because the units that are being built are a market rate units. And Paul Coogan doesn't want affordable units. Paul Coogan doesn't want you living in the city. Paul Coogan wants you to be gone. Be gone with you. You're poor. You're not, you don't own a home. Go away. You don't have a right to speak. We don't want to hear from you. As a matter of fact, if you open your mouth against me, I'm going to take you off the air. That's what I'm going to do. And lo and behold, he did that. He did that to us. But guess what? We're back. We don't tolerate this. We may be a troublemaker to him. We may be a pain in his ass. But guess what? There's always hemorrhoid cream.
Oh, that is so true. But I know Paul has said numerous occasions he's not good with numbers, and apparently none of these Democrats are good with numbers. And I can do that in my head. Do you know what percentage of the housing being built now is if we got 40 units and they're building 2,000? That's 2%. 98% of the housing is unaffordable for about 98% of the people in the city. So you do the math. Listen, these people don't give a damn about you, and they don't even pretend to give a damn. You know, I was appalled yesterday watching an excerpt from the hearing on Mayorkas' impeachment. You know, they had the angel moms, women whose children were killed by illegal aliens. Killed by illegal aliens that are being let in by the thousands. And do you know that Mayorkas didn't even show up to listen to them? And they were outraged. One woman flew from Arizona where her daughter was killed, murdered, brutally murdered by a Mexican gang member who was in this country illegally and who she said had a rap sheet so thick it looked like, the Encyclopedia Britannica on steroids. And they didn't even release his total record. Murdered. And they had a whole bunch of women whose children were murdered by these people. And forget about the thousands and thousands of people being killed by fentanyl being trafficked over the border. But you think that scumbag who always goes on the air and says, the border's secure, the border's secure. Oh, we want to make a deal. We can let 5,000 in a day, and we'll still say it's secure. 8 million illegals. That's how much they care about the regular people. They don't care if their children are murdered. They don't care if their children die from drug overdose. They don't give two shits about anybody except themselves and their power and their bank accounts. That's what it's all about. So you people like this? You like having a country that is that now is a giant 48 contiguous state border city? We've made all the states border cities because they're shipping them all over the country. They go into the airports right now, no ID, no nothing. They just take the express line. They don't get patted down. You go through the airport, they're sticking scopes up your rear end. They're sending you through x-ray machines. They're looking at the little, oh, you got more than 3 ounces of liquid. We're going to lock you up, handcuff you, take you away. You got hundreds of illegals getting on a plane for free. No security check. We've had over 360 known terrorists enter this country this year. What happens if one of those idiots gets on the plane? They're just letting them in. I saw the video. I don't know what people think in these states. I don't know if they got something in the water that disintegrates your brain and logic. I don't give a damn if you don't like Trump's tweets. I don't care if you don't like anything. I don't have to like my plumber, but he better be a damn good plumber. I don't have to like my electrician, but he better be able to fix my electricity. I want a country that's run by people who are protecting me and mine, not trying to make this into a revolving gate so they can get people to vote for them down the line. This is outrageous. This state, you wonder why Massachusetts is now number 2? We'll never get the number 1. Well, we might get the number 1 in 10 years after California becomes fundamentally a ghost state. Then we might get the. You wonder why we've gone up to number 2 for people leaving this state? Look around you. Look around to the insensitivity of your politicians, your elected officials that go up there. Check their record. See if our state delegation supports all this bullshit of spending our money. And it's real quiet in the city, because now they're all scurrying around figuring out what they can cut and how much more they can, how many more fees they've got to get and what threats they can bring down the road at budget time. They're all laying low right now, but I can guarantee you that your tax bill that everybody was irate about is only the beginning. And with that, CJ, I'll turn it over to you.
It's unbelievable that we have to keep bringing this up. It's hard to believe that people just don't want to hear what's being said, or they want to walk around with the blinders on because it's easier. And as you said, you don't care about Trump's tweets. I don't care about Trump's tweets, okay? What I do care about is the fact that I want my borders secure. I want people to go through the right process to get into this country. We not only have Mexicans and Guatemalans and Nicaraguans and all coming in. We've got people from China coming in through the southern border. We got people from other countries coming in. They're going down into Mexico to come up so they don't have to go through the immigration process. And that's where some of the terrorists are getting in. They're going down to Mexico and then coming up through the southern border. This is what happens when you don't have secure borders. And we don't have secure borders. And remember, we have a $1 billion shortfall in our state budget. But we can afford to spend $2 billion on housing immigrants. Isn't there something wrong with that picture? Isn't there something wrong with that? I mean, do the math. Do the math. I can't make this stuff up. Do the math. And then you've got Maura Healey turning around saying, well, I'm going to spend more money on pre-K education. Every pre-K, every 4-year-old in the state will have pre-K education. And it's going to cost us X number of dollars, and we're going to pay for it. And we're going to fix every road in all these cities and towns, and we're going to pay for it. And I put together an affordable housing program that we've got the money in the budget for it. We've dedicated $400 million, and we're going to dedicate some more money to it, and people can apply for it and get tax credits and all of this. But nobody's doing it because they've made it more profitable to use the HDIP program and the ties that they get to get the HDIP credits that the cities and towns have to pay for. So not only do you take it in the face from the state, you take it in the ass from the city. Any way you look at it, you can't win. You just can't win. I'm not making this stuff up.
No, you're not, CJ. And you know the irony of this? You look at this shit, she's talking about pre-K. What are they going to teach them in pre-K? They're going to start teaching them about, you're not really born a boy or a girl. You can figure it out when you're 6 and get your genitals cut off and then regret it. What are they going to teach? Massachusetts, the public education system in the entire United States is failing. So this is their plan, to dump more money. And as far as spending money, borders, for God's sakes, wake up. Why is it that the politicians in the United States will spend billions and billions of dollars on everybody else's border, but they won't close ours? We're the only nation in the world that doesn't have a sovereign border, that doesn't protect our border. We're letting everybody in. Yemenis, we're letting in people from Iran, all the countries that are against us. China, military age men predominantly coming in. What are they creating? Sleeper cells in the United States? Who knows? Why don't our Democratic politicians care about closing our borders? They're hysterical about Ukraine's border. Oh, the Russians are coming in there. We got to send them another $100 billion that we already don't know where the last $100 billion went. We know that they're paying their retirement system. We're paying half of their salaries. We're not paying for the war. We're paying for their government to run. But we don't care. Send them more money. Including the Republicans. Mitch McConnell, that other, he's lucky Biden's around, because he's almost as gone as Biden. He loves Ukraine. He doesn't talk about China either, because his wife's Chinese and she's got a whole bunch of businesses over in China. These people don't give a shit about this country. They're letting this country be destroyed while they're sending money and using the excuse that these people well, I'll tell you what, if you want to make a case, Russia invading the Donbass region, is it really an invasion? That area is predominantly Russian speaking. It used to be part of Russia. They're not getting, you're not seeing Ukraine being invaded by Saudi Arabians, Yemenis, Iranians, people from Senegal, West Africa, East Africa, all over the world. 180 different countries coming into the United States. You don't see 180 different countries trying to get into Ukraine, but we're going to send them hundreds of billions of dollars and not even pay attention if they use it for what we sent it for. And we all know they're not, and they don't care. So when are you people going to smarten up and say, these people, you haven't figured out yet they don't care about you? She makes her speech, I'm going to give to the little kids, and then we'll let them teach anything but American history, anything but reading, writing, and arithmetic. We're going to pump billions of dollars into pre-K to prepare them to get to the next level where they can talk about, are you really a boy or a girl? You have that choice, and your parents don't have any say about it. This is what they're teaching now in our colleges. We got people coming out of college that can't find a state on a map. All right? If they gave them a test and said, I want you to identify these 5 states, they probably couldn't identify 4 of them on a map. This is what they're doing. They're coming out of college morons, stupider than they when they went in, brainwashed, but stupider. And this is what they spend their money on. These are the states that, this is it. Promises, goals. Go the kiddies. Let's line up the kiddies. Now it's the pre-K. Oh, I know about the housing crisis, but I'm not going to fix it. I'm going to put up all this money and say, see, I gave him the money. It's not my fault that Paul Coogan doesn't give a shit. He doesn't want any of that money because he doesn't want affordable housing. Nobody gives a shit. These people don't give a shit. They get on TV, they give their bullshit addresses, they fill you full of crap, and then they just keep spending your money and raising your taxes. And spending your money on things that you don't want. You're the taxpayer. They're our representatives. They're supposed to be spending the money on things that benefit us and our quality of life. Not illegals. Illegals getting on planes without being patted down, without even going through any security checks. This is the express line. Right to the counter to get their ticket at no cost, except to us. And then they're going to tell you they care about you. You know, we should, like you said, CJ, I think we got 12 Republicans up in the State House.
That's what we got, 12.
In the next election, we should have 12 Democrats left. Because that's the only way you're going to change anything. We've had a Democratic State House for, well, I think forever. I don't know, did we ever have a Republican majority in Massachusetts? I don't believe so. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. Because as long as I can remember, finding Republicans up in a State House was like finding a unicorn. So, CJ, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, it's true. I don't ever remember a time when we didn't have a Democratic predominance in the State House. And that's a sad state of affairs for the Commonwealth. We've had Republican governors. The last Republican governor we had was more of a Democrat than he was a Republican. He was a rhino, a Republican in name only. He was very, 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 very liberal, very, socially charged, very much looking at what can we do for the poor and the undeserving. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with helping somebody who's down on their luck. I have a problem with creating a system that perpetuates the system, that perpetuates it from generation to generation to generation. Do you know there was a study done in Massachusetts? I can't remember when it was, but they produced the fact that the Massachusetts welfare system, it's AFDC or whatever you wanted to call it, the welfare system had 4 generations of people, of a family on welfare. 4 generations. Not 1, not 2, 4. That's a sad state of affairs. We're creating what we have now. We have a group of youth, a group of teenagers, a group of young adults which believe they're entitled to everything. I don't have to work. They'll give me a check. I don't have to work. They'll give me health care. I don't have to work. They'll give me food stamps. That's not right.
No, you're right, CJ. But let's look at this. They've been attacking this poverty, like you said. We have all these liberals that attack poverty. Have they cured it in Baltimore? No. Have they cured it? Have they improved the education system? No. You look at Massachusetts. The gap between the rich and the poor has widened every year. No matter how much they talk to you about eliminating this, they exacerbate it. They make it worse. We have now generational welfare families. We have generational stupidity in colleges now. They're coming out dumber. We have generational decline in our public education system. The states that spend the most get the least. You look at the states that now have good educational systems. You go down to Florida, where they've eliminated all this crap that they teach over there. They've basically banned it. You're in there to teach them how to read and write and have a brain, a functional brain. But you look at states like this. You and I have been around a long time. I don't see the poverty rate. Mac Fall
No.
River's poverty rate is still near 20%. 19.7%. It's been like that for decades. Decades. So what have our state delegation, our local officials done to help the people of Fall River? Look at the per capita income. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, finally made it up to 30,000, less than half of the state average, but 30,000. 15 years ago, it was like 25. So it really hasn't moved at all. When you consider inflation, the dollar's worth less. It's actually, if you know how to do, analytical math, and you understand something about economy and inflation, they've actually lost ground. The average median income in Fall River per capita is $30,000. If 15 years ago was $25,000 15 years ago was worth 3 times as much as $30,000 is today. Because you can't buy shit. Costs $8 for butter. I don't know, milk is like nuts. A loaf of bread. I mean, you look at stuff, people are losing over $7,000 a year to inflation. So do the math. Subtract 7,000 from 30,000. Yeah, your per capita income is lower than it was when it was 25,000. It hasn't budged, basically. It's only gone up a minimal amount. But you look up on the high end, the people on the high end have improved a lot. The rich get rich, the poor get poorer. And if you think these people are working for you, they got to dump more money into clinical psychology. With that, back to you, CJ.
That's funny. That's very funny. Uh, the governor made a pretty nice speech, all cherries and rainbows and lollipops, but again, no way to pay for it. So you can say all the stuff that you want to say that makes it sound good, like you're doing such a wonderful job for the Commonwealth. You're not. The average person in the Commonwealth isn't getting any benefits. Although you said you've given great tax cuts, and you're not going to increase taxes because, according to the Speaker of the House, we're not schizophrenic. We worked hard on getting those tax cuts in. So now, instead of you being limited to 2 children, you can have more children and get $2,000 more off your taxes or off your income, however they do it. They've raised the rental deduction. These are how they're saying they've given you, tax deductions. They've raised the rental deduction. I think it's $3,000. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you're really not getting anything. I don't see you getting anything. I don't see me getting anything. I know I'm still scraping together to pay my water bill. Because again, my city doesn't care about me. And your city doesn't care about you. So remember that. We're going to have a cold weekend, very cold weekend. The city is partnering with the First Baptist Church to have a warming center open from Friday night, tonight, 7 p.m. until Monday morning. Food will be provided there, and it will be open the entire time. So if you need a place to go, instead of being on the streets, because it's going to be cold, it's going to be very difficult for you to stay on the streets all night, go to the First Baptist Church, go inside there, stay warm, have some food, catch some Z's, make it work. If you know somebody who needs it, give them the information. I want to thank you all for watching. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.